Today's clip isn't very linear, it's a bit meandering, but we'll get there, right? It is about trees, just bear with me here. People are all about the bees and we have to save them and all that, absolutely. But then they say, I'm not a big fan of wasps, they're aggressive for no reason, they attack you, what do they even do? Everything in nature has its place, and I've spoken about this before. Wasps are pollinators. And one of the reasons that they're particularly aggressive at this time of year is because they're feeding for their sugars on fruits which have now gone beyond ripe. They're starting to ferment slightly. That's not to say if you go out and start feeding on strawberries you're going to get locked, right? It's not like that. But ecologists have described it as being aggressively drunk. So they do get slightly tipsy and then they're trying to get their way and it gives them a bad reputation. However, wasps are also beneficial predators for the pine tree. So trees can release a chemical called ethylene to let each other know when they're in danger. This is most famously recorded in Africa with the acacia tree. When a giraffe comes over and starts to nibble on the acacia leaves, it throws out this ethylene to let the other acacia trees know we're under attack. They are able to make their leaves unpalatable. They send up this toxin into it. The giraffe stops nibbling, heads over, starts to nibble on another tree that didn't receive that chemical because it's much further away, and then the cycle continues. If the groundwater is contaminated that the trees are drawing up, the tree that draws it up first can send out this chemical to warn the other trees, different kind of chemical of course, and then the trees can either stop drawing up the water, drop their leaves early. They've loads of different defense mechanisms. So trees are working with this all the time. But we spoke about trees being cooperating with each other and other organisms to survive. When pine trees are under attack from the leaf-eating caterpillar, this is badass, right? Obviously trees are moving, but they can't swat them away or move or stop them in any way. So what they do is they send out a pheromone that calls on the parasitic wasps to come and help them. Don't know if you ever saw Never-Ending Story. It's a bit like that with the rocks, when the rocks come, or Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings. You know, one of these fantasy things where you have these whole armies show up. They call on the parasitic wasp, who comes along, lays its egg inside the leaf-eating caterpillar. The egg pupates, it eats the caterpillar from the inside out, I know. And then as a little thank you reward, or a little kind of bonus, is allowed to feed on a bit of the sap of the pine tree before starting its life cycle. Is that not unbelievable? I find that incredible. So yeah, there's your story for today. Cheers.